Tanker Drivers Union and the Tanker Drivers Union is calling on the National Petroleum Authority to fix tracking devices on all tankers before implementing the tracking directive. Per the directive, tanker drivers who do not install the device will not be allowed to transport petroleum products from the Tema oil refinery.
The tanker drivers argue that only 400 vehicles had been fixed with the tracking device as at October last year, out of the over 2,000 tanker vehicles. The rest, 1,600 tanker vehicles, have not been fixed. However, NPA has not come out to explain reasons behind the delay, but rather introducing the new directive which will prevent them from lifting fuel. They claimed the directive will push them out of business and added the northern part of the country will soon experience fuel shortage.
They've not tell us why they stopped fixing it. And now they say we should not load because we don't have trackers. And it's affecting us. Because if we decide we will not fix it, fine. They can stop us from loading. But we didn't decide not to fix it. We are ready to do it. And they'll stop doing it. So we see no reason why they can stop us from loading. That is our main problem now.
It is not our aim that we are not going to fix the tracker. If they are there, we will go. Yeah, but the thing is not there. So how can we go and fix it? We can't go and fix it. So right now, our people are going to have meeting with the NPA boss over there. So when they come down, then we know what to do.
They also questioned why NPA had increased the fee for loading sticker from 300 to 500 cedis without their concern. They added if their grievances are not resolved, they will hit the streets to protest.
And we've been joined on the phone by the PRO for the National Petroleum Authority, Yaro Kasambata. Very good afternoon to you, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, quick one. The tanker drivers are saying that, well, the vehicles themselves haven't been registered, and yet you still want to implement. You've only registered 400 out of the 2,000 tankers that we have. Can you please explain that to us?
Is it actually with the registration or the installation?
The installation of the tracking device.
Oh, of the tracking device.
Yes.
No, but on the tracking device, we have actually installed tracking device on 1,000 tankers. Okay, but you know the number that we have is in excess of 2,500 thereabouts, and so we've just done about 1,000. Now, I know that they have had a lot of, some of them have had issues with the fact that we have just done 1,000 and we are saying that the conditions for loading must now include the fact that you have a tracking device installed in your vehicle.
Sure.
Yesterday we had a meeting and we agreed that this is a policy that must continue. We had a meeting with them. They agreed with us that this policy must continue. The 1,000 that have the vehicles, you know, with tracking devices on them, they have the liberty to pick products from Tema and travel to any part of the country because we have the ability to track their movements and their physical location so that we can confirm the distance they have traveled so that if they are making claims for their freight, it will tally. Those of them who don't have the tracking devices installed,
okay,
we have said that in the meantime, until they have had the SSO installed by end of July thereabout, they should only do business within their limited zone. That is what we call zonalization. So if you are in Ashanti region, you pick your product from the depot in Kumasi for the environment and the country, and the cities thereabout. If you are further north, you pick from Bupe. If you are in the western region, you pick from the Takrady, depot. If you are for the eastern sector, you pick from the depots in Mamiwata, and then you would do your transportation within the limited zone. You see, this is important because the fund that is meant for paying freight has in the past received dubious claims. And so that is why we have to put electronic tracking devices on every road, bulk road vehicle that is carrying petrol and diesel. so that the distance you travel can be confirmed by the electronic system, so that when you come to make a claim that you picked the product from Tema and you went all the way to Wa in the western in the upper west region, we can actually confirm that indeed you were there.
Okay.
Either two, we've had claims where people pick the product from Tema, they only go to dump it in Ashaman or go to Dansoman, and they will come and make a claim that I went to Wa, because Accra to Wa, the distance would mean that you will be paid a lot of freight. These type of dubious claims, if we don't nip them in the bud and we continue to oblige them, we will deplete the fund up to the point where we cannot pay people for freight anymore. And so it is within the authorities, mandate to institute measures to curtail such dubious claims. And we all agree, they themselves agree with us, that this policy is a good thing and it must continue. That is the meeting we had and the resolution we arrived at yesterday.
Okay. Yaro, they mentioned that it could create a shortfall. How are we going to address places like the northern regions? The three northern regions.
It will not create shortfall. You just imagine that we are saying all the tankers that are in the northern sector, lift your products from the depot that is in the northern sector. How can that create a shortfall? Because we have products in the northern sector. We have products in the south. The vehicles that can pick products from the depot and then deliver them in the depot at in the northern sector have tracking devices installed on them. And so the claim that it will create shortage, it's not true. And we are going to ensure that this does not lead to any artificial creation of shortage, because we have done all our calculations, and we know that there is no way, if this is not intentional or if this is not deliberately done to just hurt the policy, there is no way this directive will create shortage of fuel in the system.
All right.
Shortage at all.
Okay. When do we hope to have all the tracking devices on the remaining, over 1,000 that we haven't done?
We have agreed with them yesterday that we are working through all the procurement procedures that we have laid down in this country.
Okay.
And that by the end of July, we hope to have finished and installed, the devices on all the remaining, tracking, all the bulk road vehicles. So we have a timeline between now and end of July. And this timeline was arrived with them yesterday at the meeting. So I think that we have a common ground on how we are going to proceed on this. Everything is fine. We don't envisage any problem going forward.
All right, yeah, can you hang on a moment? We have a tanker driver. He claims that some of the vehicles have broken down, so they will not be able to reach some parts of the country. I mean, you will have the opportunity to respond to it as well. Good afternoon to you, and thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, afternoon, madam. How are you all?
Yeah, good. Patrick, thank you very much for joining us. He's a tanker driver. You heard the PRO says that, well, there wouldn't be any shortfall whatsoever because you have the nearest depot to pick up your product. And what exactly are you disagreeing with?
Let's have an example, for instance, you particularly I'm talking to. If you have a truck, you have a station as well, and your truck there's no device on your truck, what will you do?
You are supposed to work within your zone.
Within the zone?
Yes.
Yes. We are supposed to work within the zone. But your station is beyond where you should work to.
Okay, go ahead.
You want your truck to take your load. You want your truck to take your load. And your station is Takrade or Kumasi, and you are loading from Tema here. So what will you do? If the driver or you, the transporter, decide not to fix the tracker, it's different.
Okay, all right.
That's not the issue. The issue is just stop fixing it.
Okay, and Patrick, you have to hang on and kindly turn down the volume on your TV set so we can have a clearer and smooth conversation. But Yaro, if you're listening, you heard him.
Yes, I heard him.
Yes. What do you say to that? He's saying, well, he can be in Takoradi, but his station is elsewhere.
Oh, no.
And that NPA has stopped fixing the tracking device.
Patrick and I understand what we are talking about. Patrick himself knows that the picture that he's painting is just overstretching the matter, because there is a depot in all the designated zones. So if you pick from your zone and you are even traveling further, to a town that is within your zone, that is fine. But we are saying that you cannot, for example, drive from Wa or come from all the way from the north to the south in Tema and pick a product and go back, because if you don't have a tracking device, it is difficult for us to be able to track your whereabouts so that we can confirm the exact mileage that you have covered. That is what we are saying. And that is why, in the meantime, the policy is only for those who have the devices installed to be able to move freely. Those of you who don't have it installed yet, we are working to get it done for you. But in the meantime, only restrict yourself to the zones that you work. I think that this is the best of the arrangement that we can have in the circumstance.
Okay. And Yaro, before you go, is there a freeze on the installing the tracking devices in the tankers?
I didn't hear your last question.
I'm asking if you have frozen the installation of tracking devices in the tankers.
You are asking what is, delaying it?
No, I'm asking if you've stopped. He's claiming that NPA has stopped installing the trackers.
No, we haven't stopped. You see, the program as we started it about a year ago, we only had approval to procure 1,000 set of devices.
Okay.
Okay, but we needed to also start at the point.
All right.
You cannot have an industry of this size and you want to implement a policy and you start and you have 100% coverage. You have to start at some point and then you observe, so that if you have any hiccups in the first few phases that you have designed, you don't replicate that, hiccups in all the other, parts of the country. And that is why we have to proceed gradually. We have done 1,000. We are in the process of procuring another set for the rest of the, vehicles.
All right.
So
Thank you very much.
It's only, reasonable that they bear with us as we go through this phase. It is in the interest of all of us that we are able to do this successfully.
All right. Thank you very much. Yaro Kasambata is the PRO for the National Petroleum Authority.